honestly, the cool thing about resistance training, if you are now like 60 or 70 and you forgot to lift weights, you're actually in great shape because you're going to see way better results than either of you or I do. Because it's called newbie gains. The most important thing is you can build muscle in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s and your 80s. In fact, we now know you can build muscle equally well in your 60s as you do in your 80s.
You are tuned into the Dr. Tina Show with Dr. Tina Moore. For more, visit drtina.com. On this episode of the Dr. Tina Show, I am sitting down with my dear friend, the one and only JJ Virgin. If you don't know who she is, you should, and you will by the end of this episode. JJ walks the talk. Wait until you hear how old this woman is. She is in incredible shape. I've had the honor of working out with her before, and man, I cannot keep up. She's a 4 times New York Times bestselling author. She's a fitness guru. She truly embodies what it means to age powerfully. So without further ado, let's jump in. JJ Virgin, I am so excited to have you here. This has been a long time coming. We are dear friends for the audience, but I also want them to know that I have been a massive fangirl of yours for a long time. And I don't know if you know that. A long, long time.
Well, I've been a fangirl of yours. So how fun that we finally got together and got to, like, I think our first date was in London.
Yes, it was last year, last summer. I remember seeing you years and years ago on some television show, and I have followed you ever since. So you are a huge reason why I am here doing what I'm doing. So I just wanted to say that.
Wow.
It's true. It's true. When people say you see opportunity mirrored, right? When you see someone do it, then you're like, oh, I can do this too. So I remember before I ever even went to naturopathic school, I remember you and the work you were doing. And I have one of your books somewhere around here from way back.
Wow.
Yes. So I was saving all of that until I interviewed you to tell you.
That's so cool.
Yes. So for those, introduce yourself. I could introduce you, but and sing your accolades. But introduce yourself for the audience.
Which goofy TV show did she see me on?
I think it was the one where you were helping people who were hoarding.
Yeah. So I was one of the first people back in the day when, actually it was like I was one of the first personal trainers. As far as I can tell, it was Tony Horton and Mark Sisson and Body by Jake and me. And there wasn't even a name for it, which is super cool. Literally I was running an aerobic studio and someone wanted me to come to their house and work out with them at their house. That's how that whole thing started. And by the time I graduated from UCLA, I had this full-blown personal training business. I remember everybody was like interviewing for jobs at offices. And I'm like, oh, I'll have none of that.
Same.
But then I was also graduating thinking I need to learn a lot more if I'm going to be doing this. So I literally, like, day after graduation, am back in grad school in biomechanics. But along the way, I remember the first thing I wanted to do was help 1 million people get healthy, right? That was like my big goal. And next thing I know, I'm on the Dr. Phil show, literally I was helping doctors put nutrition in their practice. And one of them was like, I'm doing this thing on Dr. Phil. Will you come help? And I'm like, sure. And I go help the first time. I had a segmental bioimpedance scale before they were around at all. The company had given me one. And this was pre-InBody. And I remember the producers called me and they go, hey, can you come back and bring the scale? So I'm back on the show all the time because I got the scale that they were basing everything on. It was like,
that's awesome.
It was pretty funty. But
and you also you told me over dinner once that you brought aerobics to Japan.
Yes, I did. Yes. I also tap danced on national TV in Japan. That's where I broke my foot, by the way, Tina. That's where I got.
Oh, no.
Because I was doing acrobatics on a Sunday and I broke my foot and my parents had disowned me because I left UCLA just for a quarter to go to Japan. So I was like, well, I can't go home. So I cut the cast off and held onto a chair and taught aerobics. So therefore, I have a problem at this point. But, you do what you have to do.
Yes.
So yes, brought aerobics to Japan. So, here's the reality. I've been in fitness before fitness was a thing. It was back when literally we had jazzercise and figure salons. I've always loved fitness. I started an early career teaching calisthenics in high school. nutrition and fitness are just what I'm obsessed with. I always have been. And there really weren't places to learn it back then. Like I remember in grad school, I was all the way up into doctoral school before I started getting any nutrition classes, because exercise science and nutrition were siloed back then. How stupid is that? I mean, ridiculous stuff. And back then, there wasn't even, I bought the first textbook, exercise endocrinology textbook, but I mean, this was years after I'd left school where they started to talk about hormones and exercise. Can you imagine? So like crazy changes have happened. But a lot of the stuff back then, I always say I had like a life laboratory because I was learning things at school and half of them seemed really stupid. Like I remember hearing that you could get, you can get all the protein you need from a potato. And I'm getting taught this and I'm looking at the teachers and I'm like going, yeah, I'm not going to take any advice from you, Yeah.
Same.
Like, sorry,
I have the
look
same.
what you look like,
Same. I still remember. So I took every nutrition class I could in undergrad, in community college, and pre-med. I took, for some reason, I took microbiology multiple times from different people, and I took nutrition multiple times just because I wanted to like learn what they had to say. And I just remember my nutrition instructor sort of bitching me out, and she's pulled me over in front of this stupid textbook, this big, thick textbook I had to spend $350 on. And it was full of just nonsense. It was like, eat more carbs. And I remember her hand with her fake nails, and she was quite out of shape. I don't know if she'd ever been to the gym. And she's tapping.
She was probably eating low fat.
Oh yeah, that was those days.
Those days. Yep.
She's tapping the book with her finger and her fake nail. I just remember it so clearly. She's like, "This is where the answer is, not what you came." And I had been working for my mentor at some point before that, so I think I was talking about insulin and low carb. This is like the early 90s, and she was like, "It is not low carbohydrate; it's high carb." And I just remember her out of shape hand tapping that page, and me thinking, like, "What the f?"
And you wanted to pull a Dr. Phil, because I always loved one of the things Dr. Phil would say was like, "How's that working for you?"
Yeah,
how's that working for you? Oh, here's the one. Like we could talk about the dumb things we were taught in school. That fortunately, I was paying my way through school by personal training people. So when they tell me something stupid, I'd go, well, yeah, that's not going to work. They told me never have anyone lift weights until they've lost the weight.
Oh yeah. That's such a terrible, pervasive
That's like
myth.
the worst of all of them.
Let's talk about that, because I wanted to bring you on so that you could, I know that I'm beating a horse here on this with the strength training and the eating the nutritionally dense foods and all of that for my audience. But I have a lot of women who are in their older years and they follow me and I know they want to work out and I know they're excited about it, but they haven't started. And a lot of them message me exactly that with the GLP-1 conversation. They get so excited because they've lost so much weight on GLP-1s. And then they say this to me. They say, and now I've lost 50 pounds, Dr. Tina, on GLP-1s. I'm so excited. And now I'm going to start strength training. And I just, oh no, let's talk about that, because first of all, I know I'm jumping around here, but can you just for street cred, tell everybody how old you are? Will you share that? Because I want them to listen to you.
62.
Yes.
Which is so bizarro. And I can tell you, like, I'm more excited now about what's possible and all the potential. Like I'm lifting weights, I'm doing pull-ups, I do push-ups, I do squats, I do jumps, I do all the things. And I'm just determined. I'm like, all this stuff about how we lose all this muscle and power and strength. I'm like, that's not going to be me. It's not going to be me, because if you look at those statistics of starting around age 30, you're losing 3 to 8% of your muscle mass each decade. It's like up to 1% a year, and then twice as much strength and 3 times as much power. You wonder how much of that, there's some hormonally mediated, of course, but how much of that is because in your 30s, life is insanity. All of a sudden you're making a little bit more money. So maybe you're eating a little bit different. You're going out with friends, but you're also working your butt off. You probably have kids. So a lot of the stuff you were able to do, I remember in my 20s, like regular stuff on the weekend was going biking, then playing beach volleyball, then running the stairs. Like it just was active all day long. And all of a sudden you're in your 20s, your 30s, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things in life, the less you do, the less you can do. And the more you do, the more you can do. It's like you just downsize everything. But I really believe that we can minimize that loss so much, but we have to, where in your 20s, you could pretty much do anything to be fit. In your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you have to be really focused as to what you're doing.
Yes. So I've been with you and watched you rep out push-ups and pull-ups like nobody's business. And I cannot keep up with that. And it's impressive. So I really want people to listen to this episode and listen to everything you have to say, even if we do jump around, because this comes with a lot of knowledge and experience, and you walk the talk, and there's few people out there. Most women in my age cohort are a mess. All women in your age cohort are, we've got a few outliers, but it's slim pickings. I'm sure you don't have a lot of girlfriends. Maybe you do because you're JJ Virgin, but most women in their early 60s don't have an age cohort friend group that's able to keep up with them if they are fit and healthy.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to a little retreat of a transformational, kind of a personal development group I'm in. And they're like, hey, would you teach a morning workout thing? I'm like, you guys could never do my morning workout. I went and did something at Eudaimonia last year, and they're like, can you teach a workout? And I'm thinking, I haven't done that for a while. This could be fun. I'll teach exercise snacks. So you've seen that research. I first heard about it from Rhonda Patrick, where 4.5 to 10 minutes a day done in 1 to 2 minute spurts reduces of little exercise snacks, things like, air squats, lunges, running up the stairs, reduces your all-cause mortality by 40 to 50%. Like, come on, right? And so I thought, what I want to do is I don't want to just do an exercise class. Who cares? You did it. It's over. You're not changing your life because you did an exercise class. You're changing your life if you go somewhere and learn some things you can do at home.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll teach exercise snacks. It'll be great. It would have been better had I actually practiced this specifically, because I about killed everybody and myself doing this. Because I thought I want to teach them so they can have these things. They'll be able to take them home. So I taught, I think, 5 different 2 to 4 minute bursts.
Oh, perfect.
They were, but it was so hard. Our buddy Sarah Gottfried was in there, and I'm like, where'd you go? She's like, oh, I was out of there. Like, great, but honestly, the cool thing about resistance training, if you are now like 60 or 70 and you forgot to lift weights, you're actually in great shape, because you're going to see way better results than either of you or I do. It's called newbie gains. The most important thing is you can build muscle in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s and your 80s. In fact, we now know you can build muscle equally well in your 60s as you do in your 80s.
Yep.
And, I was doing my doctoral work at USC, and it was exercise physiology, nutrition, and aging. We had these like master level athletes in their 80s and 90s. And honestly, I wouldn't have been able to keep up with them. They were amazing. So I think the most important takeaway is get started. And I always put people just start small. I have a whole protocol of how to get into this. Get started and then just stay consistent. So do the things you're willing to do, because if you're not going to do it consistently, it doesn't make any sense. And I really think the first place to start is just to start to track your steps.
Oh, it's a great idea. Yeah, just make sure you're getting them in.
Well, the reason being is, let's say we said, okay, the first thing I want you to do is lift weights. Well, what we know is that most of the time, if you are not tracking your steps, if you start lifting weights, you'll start moving less. Our body is very much into homeostasis. So it actually doesn't serve you to do that. If you first go, I'm going to get my baseline steps up to that 8,000 a day that we know is really the thing that moves the needle, with the average right now at 3,000 steps a day. If all I started to do was go, okay, I'm going to start tracking and just work on this till I get consistent with 8,000 steps a day. Because when you're tracking it, what you measure and monitor, you can improve. You actually start to park farther away and take the stairs. Like, you actually do the things we always say to do. You'll do them if you're getting the little reward of looking at your app going, oh, look, I got more steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Dopamine.
Yeah. And then if you throw a little weighted vest on, all the better.
Oh my gosh. I was just off camera telling you about my back pain. I have a hard time with weighted vests unless I'm working out. I'll wear them working out, but I don't do well wearing them walking because of I have a curvature in my spine. I have a scoliosis, and
they also have a weighted hip.
That's what I need, because the vest kills me if I wear it and I use it for walking. Anyway, this morning, as I was getting ready for this podcast, Nick Horowitz had a study that he put on his Instagram breaking down, looking at weighted vests, and those who wore them it was an obese cohort that they did this in. They did low calorie and a weighted vest, or they just did low calorie. And once they removed the low calorie part and they put them back on a normal diet, the group that just did low calorie had weight gain, of course, their weight came right back. The group that wore the weighted vest had continued weight loss, even though they went back to a normal calorie. And it was the bone. The study hypothesized it was the bone being an actual barometer of just the load on the bone was giving the body the metabolic boost it needed. Anyway, I thought that was fascinating.
So I think I have a couple theories there that of course there's no placebo, double blind, blah, blah, blah. All right. So first of all, it was interesting. I just read something else where they were going, there's no research to support weighted vests helping with bone mineral density. I go, you know what? There is no research to support aspirin takes away headaches either. So I'm not worried about it. It's obvious that if you're loading your spine, it's going to be better than not loading it. So I'm just going to go with that, because it's hard. Watching bone mineral density improve is kind of like watching grass grow. Yeah. But the other piece of it is think about what happens as you're losing weight. Now, hopefully you're only ever focused on losing body fat, and we never ever look at the scale, first of all, as a measure of self-worth or as a measure of overall metabolic health. We only look at body composition. Like if we could just get rid of the regular scale, like if that is my one piece, my legacy is getting rid of the freaking scale, I will die a content woman. However, if you think about it, when you lose weight, part of the way we control our resting metabolic rate is by how much we weigh, which is why we want more muscle, less fat, so we have better metabolic rate. But one of the ways you could offset that metabolic adaptation that happens as you lose weight is wear a weighted vest.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what this study was getting at, was the load on the bone. The body was being told that there was weight coming on, so it better upregulate its metabolic rate.
Let's burn more calories. It it totally makes sense.
Yep.
And there's actually like one gal I met had created this really cute little vest that was only like 5 pounds that people could just wear around like normal clothes throughout the day.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's preferred. Honestly, I think that's preferred because I do, my world was in all orthopedic medicine. I mean, everybody who came into my clinic had some kind of musculoskeletal complaint and pain. And if it's spinal, if it's axial, and you're adding a vest to it, because I get messages from people all the time because they know I do talk about pain sometimes. So my audience will message me and say, I tried a weighted vest like you suggested and my back is killing me, and I'm like, okay, so just be cognizant of that. But sometimes we just need to build up our erectors. Our erectors get fatty infiltrate from being deconditioned. That's the thing that people don't get is it's not just about metabolic health. It's not just about muscle. It's not just about bone. It's about the quality of your muscle and the fatty infiltrate that we get when we become deconditioned.
We've got to have a way to look at like that new bone mineral test, the bone quality test I was telling you about. They did it for me, and I said, you know what, I really want you to be able to do, because they could tell your body composition as well, as like when you can take this test and combine it with really being able to look at the quality of the muscle and then combine it with a grip strength test, then we got something. Like, why aren't we putting all of these things together so we can really tell what's going on? But back over to this. So if the first thing you did was just really start moving more, right, and tracking those steps, then once someone's got that down, that's where I start to put in some resistance training. And honestly, when you look at, I'm always looking at what's the lowest dose, what's the minimal effective dose. It's really 2 days a week of 30 minutes. And this is where I know you can build the same amount of muscle with a machine versus free weights, but I'm not bolted to the floor. Neither are you. So I look at it and go, I want to lift weights. And the first kind of weights I want to lift are just body weight. I want to do things that are going to transfer over to my activities of daily living. Because why are we lifting weights? We're lifting weights to improve insulin sensitivity, to reduce cognitive decline. But we're really lifting weights to be able to also be super functional and not break a hip in life. And so at the very least, like we should, when we're 5 years old, learn how to do a squat. Like, think about the things we should learn as kids.
Well, I think we know how to do them when we're babies. We just forget. I mean, look at any toddler. They squat right down. I mean, beautiful squat patterns. And then we just lose it.
I know. I remember living in Japan. Everyone would wait for the bus. First of
Squatting?
all, squatting.
Yes.
I was living in a part of Japan where I was not in Tokyo for a good part of it. I was in a place called Kochi, and the toilets were holes in the ground. You'd squat,
Yeah.
which is something to do after a nightclub in stilettos. I kept going, I'm going in, I know it. But, they would literally squat and wait for the bus.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see people outside. I'm like, what? This is wild stuff. And now I remember very early on in exercise physiology, when I was getting certified as an aerobics instructor, the dumb stuff they were telling us to do. They said, first of all, never extend your spine.
Yeah.
You should only do flexion. I go, well, how are you going to strengthen your back if you're only doing flexion? Your back will get weaker. But no, you could not do any kind of extension because it was going to be problematic. And they were very concerned about squats. And God forbid you ever drop your hips below your knees.
Yes. Yes.
Like, never do that.
And never let your knees go past your toes.
Right. It's just all this stuff you're like going, but in life, I'm pretty sure my hips are going to need to drop below my knees to get up off of something.
So check this out. 10 years later, or maybe somewhere in there in chiropractic college, it was never, ever, ever let your spine flex. Everything must be done with a neutral spine or an extension. And so we've had to undo that in the last 5 years. We're like, can we please bring flexion back? Because spines flex and extend, and we have to be able to be strong in the full range. So just crazy. I get why people are confused. Especially the older gals that have been around a long time. They've been watching all of this from the sidelines going, what am I supposed to do now? It's hard to know what to believe.
Well, they lived through first fat's the devil, then carbs were the devil. Now, it's, then animal protein's the devil. So there's that. And now in the exercise side of things, it's like exercise and diet are very similar to me with the wars. I remember early on, it was like the yoga people fighting the runners, fighting the resistance trainers. I'm like, we would never say, only eat protein, don't eat fat or carbs or water. It's the same thing. You need all these modalities. We need to do some things to train our cardiovascular system. We need to do some things to build muscle. We need to do some things to exhibit power. We need to make sure we're staying mobile and stable. You got to have it all. It's not one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to, I think it's just being a good human. Like what do humans do? We're long levers.
Yeah.
So we're meant to pick up things and we're meant to ambulate and we're meant to climb to some degree. Stuff. Yeah.
So
that's it.
Growing up, my kids literally thought balls weighed like 5 to 10 pounds because I had all these medicine balls around. They were like, that's what they thought was normal. But starting out for someone who hasn't done this, what's beautiful when you first start out with resistance training is that you will get strong so quickly. The first 4 weeks, what's really happening is your muscles and nerves just are chatting with each other. You're not going to see any change in your muscle size. And really, after that, you got to have a couple weeks of your connective tissue really getting strong. But you will start to get so much stronger quickly. And I think all that you should do to start is really focus on movement patterns and your own body weight. Because the biggest thing we don't want to have is we don't want to have an injury. But
yes,
you really want to train in the gym so that you won't get injured in life, in the wild. That's why it's hard for me I recently had a girlfriend who took me to her workout, and her workout was at this place. It was this Bulgarian machine that does eccentric, concentric, and you only do it twice a week because you get so freaking sore because the eccentric is so much harder, and so now you're trashed. But she goes, this is all you need twice a week. And it's all these machines that are really fixed. Like when you think about the 3 different planes we're moving in, this was all sagittal plane. It was all front and back. There was no side to side. There's no rotation. And I'm like looking at this going, this is setting you up for a problem, because in life, you're going to bend over and twist.
Yes. And side
and then
bend.
What happens?
Yep. Oh, and as we age, we start to glue in a very much sagittal plane. So that's where I'm at right now with my autoimmune disease is my spine does not want to twist or side bend. And even though I've done plenty of that in my exercise, I have to fight for it to
Yeah.
maintain it, right? Because my immune system just wants to lock me in. And then all we can do is kind of this front to back nonsense. And I'll be damned if I end up hunched over. So
This is why I much as I do not enjoy it, the one thing that I make myself do every day, it's like that most workout stuff I love. I love lifting weights. I detest yoga, and I make sure I go there once a week. And if I'm traveling and I can't get to it, then I watch a little video and do at least 20 minutes of it because I hate it.
yeah. Yeah.
And I
Good for
won't
you.
do that stuff on my own. But it's all that twisting and different planes and full ranges of motion and holding things. And, so you've got balance, you've got mobility, you've got all the different planes. And so we've got to stress that piece too. So if you looked at the perfect thing, if you got those steps in every day and you could add some intensity into them, and then you added in that resistance training, doing things that mimic life. So a squat. And you'll hear people say, I can't do a squat because I have bad knees. And I'm like, you do a squat because you have bad knees. That's why
Amen.
you do that.
Yep.
We've missed the point. The whole, the less you do, the less you can do. So if you have bad knees and you're not squatting, then how are you going to get up off the toilet?
Or the chair or the floor, God
Right.
forbid you fall. I ask my patients that every visit or every new patient visit, how good are you at getting up and down off the floor? And you'd be shocked how many people say they can't do it anymore. Good, healthy,
Wow.
fit looking people who just have bad knees. You do not lose that knee mobility.
Yeah, that's frightening. I can't do the up and down off the floor with no hands.
That's okay.
I have to use one, but with the knee, the foot, the hip, but still, I only use one hand. So I figure that's okay. I still score 9.
Oh, good for you. Well,
Right.
I think the thing that is misunderstood about that study, and maybe I'm wrong because I never talked to the author, but that study's been around a while now, and they never specified that you had to get up crisscross. You want to go down
Oh.
crisscross, but they never specified how you get up off the floor. So I'm really good at I can go down crisscross, but then I tuck my feet right underneath me because I'm good at that deep Asian squat. Like I've kept that in my range of my repertoire of things. And so I just tuck my little feet underneath me and get right up.
Yeah, because that crisscross thing, I don't know how the heck you do that.
I can't do it. My hips won't let me. It's part of my fun, autoimmune journey. My hips have gotten involved. So
Yeah.
they don't do that. But I can get right up off the floor, no problem, with no hands if I just tuck my little feet underneath me. And I have gone through that study and I don't see a place where they specify that you have to go in that
probably
pattern.
That was the internet taking over. And all of a sudden you've got all these people showing off, doing this thing. I saw someone using a weight to heave themselves to be able to do it. I go, I don't think that's the point.
Yes.
The point wasn't that, counterbalancing yourself with a big dumbbell.
It's way easier. I picked up 2 little 8-pound dumbbells and it was no problem, right? But without them, I can't get that leverage. So yeah, you're so right. I think the internet twisted it.
Cheat.
Just be able to get up and down off the floor, people, without trouble is really the goal.
I was doing, one of the things that I think is a great one is I bought a little knee pad, which is, you can get on Amazon just for using for weights, but I kneel on the knee pad and then I just put my hands on my head, right? And I just stand up and go back down onto my knees, just up and down, up and down, up and down. I do it to both sides. And then once you get used to doing that, you take one hand and you put a dumbbell overhead and you hold that dumbbell overhead and do it. So it's sort of like a Turkish get up part.
Yeah.
A part way Turkish get up.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Super good. Right?
Super good.
My favorite exercises, I love a push-up because anyone really can do this. You could do it against a wall. You could do it against a counter. You can do it against a bench. You can do it on hands and knees. So it's so adjustable that almost everybody can do it. And then it can also progress because it can always get harder. You can always put a dog on your back if you need to, but it can always get harder as well. And I don't do core exercises. I figure if I'm doing squats and push-ups and pull-ups, I'm doing core.
Yeah.
So to me, lying on the ground and doing a crunch, I never in my life, when are you doing that?
Right. No, I totally agree. I don't think, dead bug or some of these more rehabilitative movements that are good for deloading the spine, like dead bug or cat cow or bird dog. Those all work the core really beautifully too. And if you are doing squats and deadlifts, you're having to brace so hard that your abs are beautiful. So it's testament to it.
Well, thank you very much.
I just want to add before we move on, everything you just mentioned is where I find utility in a weighted vest. So
Yeah.
that's where I use a weighted vest, is to add effort to those movements if I need it. And that really, and then I don't, I'm not having the axial load of the vest bearing down on my spine as if I were walking, but I can do that with push-ups. I can do it I love your half kneeling thing. That's why I call it the half kneeling, because we're like getting up and then, up and down. And I think there's utility in that for every age group,
Are
especially
you
older
doing
ladies.
one of the exercises that I love that I don't see done very often? I think it's just so helpful because, again, I'm looking at how do we make sure we're moving front to back, side to side in rotation. And so I love using just a weighted medicine ball and doing wood chops.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I haven't, but I have a weighted ball and I absolutely should. That's
Because I did notice, just like what you were talking
beautiful.
about, I'm like going, my twisting is not as good as it used to be. What's up with that? And so this incorporates some power moves in too, which I'm always trying to figure out, how do we get some power in here? This is why it drives me nuts, Tina, when I see people at the gym training slowly.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, don't train slow. You'll go slow.
Yeah.
Do you remember that whole movement towards slow? Like it was even called a thing. It was in LA. It was all
Yeah.
this. I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
These people were telling me that you only need to work out one time a week and you just do everything super slow. And I was like, you know what? I have too much ADHD for that. Thank you. No,
Yeah.
I actually work out so that I'm not a psycho and that my brain works. And I need that to happen. I need that BDNF or whatever all's happening multiple times a week. So otherwise I can't be high functioning. So there's no one time
BDNF. That's where that, now you could get this with resistance training, and I actually will do some of this sometimes. I call it high intensity functional training, but that's where that HIIT comes in. That's so great. It's just getting that lactate up.
Yeah.
Getting, but I think we should be moving. I remember back in the day, we designed exercise programs very specifically that you had to have your rest days, your recovery days. And I don't use those anymore. I listen to my body if it says, hey, like knock it off. You need to but that rest day would be a long walk, or it would be some yoga. It wouldn't just be don't move. I think we need to move every day.
Yeah. You move every day. I know. I've been with you and you are up and at 'em and doing it every day. And I think that's why you look 20 years younger than you are. So it's working. Keep it up. I think just getting a little sweat on, and for those folks listening who have a lot of orthopedic issues or every day's too much. Cause like for me, if I do, I'll walk for sure. But
Right.
I
but
am
that's
not.
what I mean. Walking could be it. It could be a yoga. It's something. You're moving.
The activity level you have would trash my adrenals. So I have to take a little bit different route. But I will say adding in, I like to use, I have a power plate. I like to use that to do maybe a little mini strength training workout. I might do some mobility inside the sauna, because then we're getting that exercise. But in both cases, the vibration and then the heat is like an exercise mimetic. It's not a replacement, but I can kind of stack and double dip, if I will, so I can, because I have some pretty trashed adrenals, and I have a lot of pain. But anyway, if I don't move though, I hurt. So there's this fine line of, do you not move and you hurt, or you move too much and you hurt? So where do you find that middle spot? And I think that's just different for everyone, but you don't know until you try. And there's no version of this where it's going to get any easier, or you're going to get stronger and looser as you age. You're just going to get tighter and weaker. So that's all I think about is this is not going to be better if I put it off till tomorrow. There's no better time than now. And
well, there's I hurt because I overdid it.
Yeah.
Or I'm just working out way too hard. But that's, I don't think most people, I think most of us, we're hurt because we're not moving.
Totally.
And that's when I heard of having all these orthopedic problems from doing dumb things as a kid, they would hurt when I didn't move.
Yeah, for sure. Or they get all stuck together and glommy. Yeah. I know, I don't get it. I do. I mean, I guess I could understand. I've been in a place before where I was in so much pain, and mine's immunologically driven. So it's a different kind of crazy, and people who know, but, you just end up on the couch flat on your back for days on end in just such acute, horrific pain. I told you last week I had a flare, and I ended up I had to take a little bit of a steroid but you know why I took it? So I could start moving. I looked at my husband and I said, dude, I got to take something. I cannot get out of this. Nothing was touching it. Ibuprofen, Tylenol, nothing was touching it. And I said, I'm going to take a little steroid so I can get moving. And the minute it kicked in, I was on the floor doing as much rehab movements as I could. I was planking. I was, bird dog, all those things. I was doing some push-ups. I was getting some air squats, just what I could do, but I needed a little help to get there. And
Yeah.
I think that, anyway, my point being is like, don't ever stop moving, and move as soon as you can if you are coming out of pain. Like don't ever delay it, because it's the fast track to healing and getting over the hump.
Yeah, it was interesting. I told you I interviewed Dr. Elizabeth Yurth a couple days ago, and her biggest thing she was talking about is she's bringing people through she's an orthopedic surgeon, is first thing she's like, don't stop moving.
Yeah, ever.
Just don't stop. Like all the stuff they used to say, she said, all that stuff about rest, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't ever stop. The minute you can breathe, like I was in so much pain, I couldn't breathe. And so I'm outside walking laps around the house, just like just in so much pain. And I kept walking until finally I could get a few breaths in. And then as soon as I'd have a window where the pain would calm itself down, I was doing some exercises gently.
Well, you look at it too, like think about what contracting, we think of muscle as something that kind of holds everything together and helps us move. But I think of muscle, like, yes, it holds everything in tighter and boosts our metabolism. And yes, it gives carbohydrates a place to land. But the exciting thing about muscle is what happens when it contracts and all those messages going out of drop the pain, boost the immune system. Like, it's like the coolest stuff. It's like you're in there, creating your own pharmacy.
Yeah, of myokines. Yeah. And this only happens when there's so many cool things when you actually squeeze a muscle from a biochemical standpoint. You have to actively squeeze the muscle. So it's not about finding them, they're hunting down medications that would allow you to not exercise. And I'm like, no, you're missing. Exactly. Like you're missing. It's the actual squeezing is what does the magic. So you have to go squeeze your muscles in the gym.
I wonder if, because I've been deep down the creatine rabbit hole, and creatine does a lot for the immune system too. Like we just presented, my buddy who created creatine HCl and I presented at a conference, and he was showing creatine going after cancers, like creatine basically pumping up these killer cells to go after cancer. So I just wonder if that would, if pumping up the dose on that, which I only use HCl because that other stuff will just make you bloated and crappy feeling. But pumping that dose up to 3 grams of HCl would help you with some of this, because it might be worth trying.
No, that's a good point. You're absolutely right. Like just get the muscles to be happier and better. It's crazy. Aging is no joke, and there's no version of it where I don't know. I don't know what it was. I was not a very healthy person in my 30s, and I had a very good memory of what happened to my mom when she went through menopause. And so about 10 years prior to menopause hitting, I decided I better get my butt in the gym and start working on this. I better start building muscle, because I don't want that. Like, I don't want that experience. And, vanity, but really pain and vanity are the big drivers of most people. Most people will respond to pain or vanity. And when people don't, I don't know what to do for them. If I can't get them to tap into one or the other, it's very hard to get a patient to take action. And for me, it was like, I just didn't want to go through the hell that my mom went through with menopause. It was not fun to watch. And so I started training. And when people said, what are you training for? I'm like, the zombie apocalypse. Like, I'm not messing around here. And I'm not hardcore. I can't rep out push-ups like you and Gabrielle Lyon. You guys are hardcore. And
Gabrielle Lyon's got, I would not want to go to the gym.
She's a machine. I know. But I share this because I want people to know that this looks different for everyone, and that's okay too, right? Yeah. Like there's just a variety. You and I can work out together and have a really fun time, and we maybe aren't doing the exact same thing, but we both have.
We were pretty darn close.
We were good.
Right? You showed yourself short there. I'm like, you were killing it.
We have good stamina.
But again, I go down to what are the things that if you did these things, instead of trying to do all the things, if you just said, I'm going to get those steps in and let me check out a weighted vest. Then I said, then 2 days a week, I'm going to do some squats, some push-ups, maybe a bent over row or a deadlift, and a flexed arm hang or a pull-up. I use a band to assist because I can rep out now 10 of them, but I'm trying to do multiple sets. But you can use a band to help you so that you're pulling. You can do some farmer's carries and an overhead press. Simple stuff that you don't need much equipment for at all. And to start, you can use, a few dumbbells.
Yep. Absolutely.
right? And then do like a day of yoga. You can do that. You can get a little class online and do 2 days of HIIT training.
There's so much
That's
good
it.
free stuff online too. You don't have
Yeah.
to pay for all this stuff.
But
No,
the
I love
HIIT
it.
training, I think, is, when you really look at that, it, everything for me now is like, how do I make sure that how I feel right now is how I feel or better in 10 years and 20 years, right? And so one of those key things for that is lactate. One of those key things, and that's why I'm focusing now on really, I've always loved HIIT training, but I'm really making sure I'm getting my HIIT training in.
How do you like to do it?
So I'm messing around with the different protocols, but the protocol I tend to do the most is 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And however, the Power Plate people brought me a new toy.
Oh, what is
You're
it?
going to be so jealous. It is a it is a rev bike.
Oh.
The pedals are like Power Plate itself, and they vibrate. And so it actually helps you do VO2 max training. You do 30 seconds with the pedals vibrating, it kills you. And then you do 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes and go. So it's kind of like Wingate training.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other protocol I've been doing. It's like 30 seconds all out and then 3.5 minutes, and I'll do that one. Or I'll do 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And I've got a Stairmaster for that. I've got my little sprint treadmill. As soon as my foot gets back under control, I'll go back to my sprinting. And my sprinting, I was doing much more like kind of more Tabata sprint
Mm-hmm.
types of things. And then sometimes I'll do some functional training where I'll go and do like say up downs, and then I'll do something easy, and then I'll do squat jumps, and I'll do something easy, and I'll do step ups. So I just mess around with it. As if I'm short, I want to get both done at once. If I want to get my kind of some resistance power training and some HIIT training, and I got 20 minutes, that's what I'll do.
I love it. No, I think that's great. I'll use a variety of things too, and just whatever fits the bill that day. I actually like to do a little different. I'll do about a 3-minute warm up. If I'm on the treadmill, I'll ramp up the speed a touch, but I ramp up the incline all the way to the top. And I hustle that for a good 30 seconds. And then I bring it back down and I kind of lollygag for 3 minutes. And then I bring it up and I hustle uphill and then I bring it down. And so I'm able to do that regardless of where my pain level's at, I can do that. I can usually bust that one out. Or I'll do the rower, kind of the same thing. I'll just crank as hard as I can for 30 seconds. And then I give myself enough time to catch my breath. And so
you're doing like Wingate. Those are Wingate cycles.
I like that. Because I can.
Yeah, it's one of the, when you look at the different protocols, it's the Tabata, the 1-to-1, the Wingate cycles like that you remember in school, like that 30 seconds you're going to vomit and then recover.
Yeah.
And then there's that Norwegian 4x4, which is, I don't do that one because it's not fun at all. It's the 4 minutes really hard, 3 minutes recover. I'm like, too long. It's too long.
No, I don't like that. I like to basically just toast myself and then catch my breath and then toast myself and catch my breath. And I'll do that maybe 6 times and call it good. And that will torch fat off of me too, if I actually am consistent about it.
Especially visceral. Like that's the way to get that visceral fat gone.
Yeah. I say, as I'm like, why do I have this? Probably because I'm not doing that enough. No, that's brilliant. I love it. That's a good way to do it.
But you only have to do that because I'll hear people say, I've been doing HIIT every day. I go, if you can do HIIT every day, you're not doing HIIT.
Yeah.
Twice a week. Like don't do it more than that.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah. So these are the tickets to longevity, ladies listening, and men. This is coming from JJ Virgin, who's 62 and sitting here. Like, if you're not watching us on YouTube, please come over, check this out, because this comes from a lot of experience. I'm sure you've tried everything under the sun at this point. If you've been as active as you have been since you were so young, like you've seen it all, you've done it all, you've been through it all, you've played with it all.
This in my, I literally was doing stuff when I've done it my entire life.
Yeah.
I started studying nutrition when I was 12, like going to the library, reading all the nutrition books. So I've been obsessed with this stuff forever. I've done all the stupid stuff, the total vegan, the fat-free, remember the Stop the Insanity, all of them. I've done all those things. I almost died on a vegan diet. my body fat jumped up. I am a naturally ridiculously lean genetic freak. And my body fat went to 25%. I know because we were at USC at the time doing body comp testing, and I did underwater weighing, and I'm like, what has happened to me?
And this is on vegan?
Vegan.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, that's not. I just don't.
Horrible.
We're just not. I don't think we're meant to eat any one particular extreme. Like we have a variety of different types of teeth in our mouth, and we have our gut length, the way that it works. The physiology of how our gut works, the physiology of our microbiome, all of those things say that we need a wide variety of interesting foods.
Yes, not just plants, not just animals.
Yeah.
All the above.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to ask you something. You are so mentally sharp and you are so on the ball and you do more than any human I know. Like literally every time I talk to you, you're somewhere else. And I don't know how you do it because I cannot keep that pace. But do you feel like everything we've just talked about is part of the secret to your mental health or your mental sharpness, I should say? Or are you doing some extra things in there that you want to share with us?
Well, I'm an obsessive sleeper.
Okay, that's good. Huge. So you obviously prioritize that then.
Yeah. So sleep is the big non-negotiable. I'll tell you a funny story. When I first met Tim, he was sleeping. He was like a 5-hour a night sleeper. And I'm like, yeah, that won't work. Yeah, that is not going to happen here. But I turned him into a sleeper. He's now a big sleeper too.
Good job. How'd you do it? Give us the deets.
I got in bed.
Yeah. That's that's how my husband did it for me. I was not going to bed on time, but I'm like, he's so cute. I'll follow him. He just goes to bed. I'm like, I'll go.
I'll go too. Hey, that looks nice.
I think, having some nice, I also think some nice, get a little bougie with your bedding, folks. Like invest in some nice linen sheets. We have a nice wool comforter. It's really makes a huge difference. It makes that much more enticing.
We have Cozy Earth bamboo sheets. Those are great. And then we got this, then I have this Omnia. I literally have, so part of the reason this works is I know I travel a lot. However, I do not travel light. Like I have, we do luggage CrossFit. That's what I call it because we have so much. We usually have like 4 70-pound suitcases and 2 carry-ons that weigh even more than that. And in one of my suitcases, I have like my red lights.
Yeah.
And so I have all my stuff, my red light mask, my red lights that wrap around, my little red light healing. And then I have my Omnia Sleep and Glow pillow that I'm obsessed with. I have 2 of those. So I have my travel suitcase and my regular suitcase. But this Sleep and Glow, I got sent so many pillows. I'm like, this is so stupid. Who cares about pillows? And now I'm like the crazy person that travels with pillow. But it makes you so you don't have face creases. And then I have an amazing eye mask. I have these I have these incredible sleep buds that don't you get sent stuff? You're like, who sent this?
Yeah.
I got sent these little sleep earbuds that do white noise. So now wherever I am, because it used to be, even at a hotel, if it was a little bit noisy, the earplugs didn't work and I don't like things in my ears. But these little Oslo sleep buds, you turn on white noise and it's like completely blocks it out.
Amazing.
And then I have this Manta eye mask that's a total block out eye mask. So I have my routine dialed wherever I am. So that I think is a big deal. I think this creatine, I have been playing around with more and more of it. I created this, met the guy who created creatine HCl and I messed with a formula of taurine and magnesium. Mm-hmm. And I've been taking 4 hits of it a day. I feel like a little bit of a like
crackhead.
Yeah, a little crackhead.
Creatine crackhead.
But I can feel it. Like I can totally feel it. Like it's so energizing. So that's a big thing.
You have a morning routine you shared with me. You listen to positive stuff in the morning.
So I either, in my perfect world, I'd be working 4 hours a day. So that has not happened. And I would have this like amazing morning routine, like all those influencers show you they have, which I think they're all lying and full of it.
They're lying.
Just if you're listening, I bet 99% of them are full of it.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Yeah.
What I like to do is wake up in the morning and do a meditation. Dr. Joe Dispenza has a 15-minuter. I can handle that. His like 2-hour ones. I'm like, who the hell's the time for that? But if I can't get to that, and I only do that a couple days a week, the rest of the time I listen to either Simon Sinek, Tony Robbins, or Joe. and I listen to them. They've got all these great positive things. So I just listen to it while I'm getting ready. So I'm doing it one way or the other.
Yeah.
If I'm home, I'm saunaing. Like, I think sauna is one of the best things we can possibly do. Either which way, I'm doing a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. I think it is my most favorite of all the food group stuff. Coffee is my most favorite thing.
Me too. I go to bed excited because I know I get to wake up and drink coffee.
I know.
I love it. I love it so much.
I won't even do fasting blood draws without coffee. I do them all with coffee.
Oh, me too.
I don't care.
Me too.
I'm not going to do that.
As long as it's black coffee, it's fine. I honestly, it is. I remember being back in medical school and everybody being in naturopathic medical school and everybody being like, coffee's so bad for you, because that's when it was the whole, it's going to destroy
burn out your adrenals.
And I was just like, shut the F up. It's a good herb. It's a good herb. And there was some data that was supportive back then, but it's just gotten better and better over the years. And I have compiled all of it. So
I know I can defend my coffee habit like nobody's business, but it's true. I actually was working with a gal at the time, Dr. Diana Schwartzbein. I was doing conferences with her, and her whole thing was like, I'd go to her house in Santa Barbara and I'd have to sneak out in the morning. I'd wake up before her because she had no coffee. She slept till forever. And I would get out of the house. I'd have to drive to Pete's to go get coffee because she didn't have any.
Oh, that's just wrong.
I know. Now I travel with a coffee maker. Back then, I don't know what I was thinking.
Coffee is such an amazing, coffee and creatine are like the ticket. I've been pumping coffee and creatine into my patients for a long time for cognition. And a long, long time ago, we knew that it had really remarkable impacts on the brain, both of those. And I actually use more creatine in my elderly population than I ever did in a patient cohort that was interested in muscle building. Like for me, it's always been a neurocognitive support, always. Like that first and foremost. Like all old people, all my pets get creatine. Everybody gets, it's like Oprah. Everybody gets creatine
for the win.
And coffee, if they'll take it. I've been trying to get my daughter to drink coffee for as long as I can remember. And she's had, just like I have had, some mood and depression issues. And I'm like, dude, it is the best antidepressant. Drink it.
So here's a hack for you that I met the founder of Purity Coffee, Amber Salisbury, and she made this. It's going to sound disgusting, and it's amazing. It's called Sacred Cups, and they're instant coffee. But it doesn't taste like instant coffee.
Ooh.
Because she says never get on a plane and drink their coffee. It's absolutely plastic. And so normally whenever we're traveling, Tim's got the coffee suitcase. But if I'm not with Tim, then I have her Sacred Cups, and I just have the hot water in the hotel room, and I can make my coffee and I don't freak out.
Brilliant. Yes. Yeah. So these are all the tips to keep your brain sharp, folks.
Yes. Oh, and like right now I've got my sheatine powder in here, some electrolytes, but I also put in here that Peak Life green tea, the powdered ones.
Oh,
do you know about that?
Yeah. Those are
good stuff. So I try to do 2 of those a day too. So coffee and green tea, lots of green tea. That's a biggie. Collagen. I'm really focused when I'm making sure they get collagen before I go work out. I think this makes sense. This is like preliminary data but if you think about it, you're really wanting that to get to your joints, and that blood supply is so low. And when you're working out and moving your joints, you'd have better blood flow there. So I've been doing collagen pre-workout. That's been a big thing too.
This sounds very labor intensive, JJ.
I got it down to a science though. It's like I get up in the morning, do my stuff, have my coffee, blah, blah, blah. That's when I do my writing because my brain's on fire. And then I'll go to the gym with my, I eat before, so I have collagen. I don't do well with fasted workouts unless it's early in the morning, in which case then I go do it fasted. But I do some collagen in my coffee beforehand, and I eat that yolked powder that I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried that yet, the yolked?
I have not been consistent though. So I need to actually try it consistently.
Especially now since you're like not able to hit it quite as hard.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're absolutely right. I go in sort of like a supplement strike every once in a while where I don't want any of it. And I'm taking too many damn things, and too many companies are sending me things. I don't know what's doing what. And then if I get any kind of aberrant lab value, I don't know what did what. So I'm sort of on a break
I
for
try to
now?
add one thing in at a time so I can tell what the heck's going on. But
Yeah.
you go to a conference, you're like, I need that and that and that and that.
Yeah. And then I end up with diarrhea and I don't know why.
It's like,
So
just stop it.
I'm going to back off. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think there is a lot of utility to proper supplementation. I just feel like it can get
Well,
gets
that's where I
overwhelming.
think, like, at least with creatine, you're replacing something that your body is already making. We're just not making enough of it. And I think we have, like, I look back and go, we probably were getting a lot more creatine in our diet 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're not making enough of it. And then we're eating more plant-based. So that makes sense. D3 is another one.
Yep.
Fish oil is another one. Magnesium is another one. So I always think at least get the stuff in that you are not getting enough of. Collagen's another one because, like, we used to eat a lot of collagen-rich foods. We don't.
Yep. Yeah, just
So
basics.
those are kind of like foundational things that I think we should all be getting in.
I agree. I really like fish oil. I know there's some folks out there who are vehemently against it, but I just I've always been a
Why would
diehard.
someone be against fish oil?
Have you not heard that argument out of the carnivore community? There's this whole like anti-PUFA argument. They go deep. It's a whole thing. So I
want to see their gut microbiome is what I want to see.
I know.
I really do. Like, that's here's my big takeaway on any of these things. The diet that heals you. So let's say you're coming in, you've got bad IBS or, bad, rheumatoid arthritis or something, and you go on a strict carnivore diet to help heal you. I think it's a great elimination diet when you think about it, right?
Yep,
great
absolutely.
Elimination diet, especially if you're not doing dairy or eggs. But just because you use that, just like when I wrote Virgin Diet, that was never meant to be forever. That was let's pull these foods out. Let's see what you're reacting to, right?
Yeah, it's a
the
reset.
Diet that heals you is not the diet you necessarily need to be on forever.
Yes.
And I think people feel so good on something. I know this happened with Virgin Diet. They're like, I feel so good, I'm not going to go off. I'm like, but you might be fine with some pastured eggs. You might be fine with some Greek style yogurt. We should check because if you can do it, great. So that's my argument with all of these things. I think, there's definitely some, things make sense around more of the omega-6s and some of the linoleic acids, or the oleic acid rather, stuff. But the fish oil thing just doesn't make sense to me.
And even the omega-6s, truly, if you look at the data, it's the oxidized omega-6s. And it's gotten totally out of hand with the seed oil thing. Like, I tell people to avoid them because when you're talking to folks on the internet, it's easier just to say to avoid it because people don't get nuance, right? People just don't.
Right.
As an example, I had a patient, a perfect example. I injected her hips and her knees, and I said, with PRP, it was expensive. And I said, you can't go for long walks for at least a week. Like, you can go on walks, but you can't go on long walks, because I knew she lived out in the country. She comes back all flared up, and I said, what's going on? She said, well, you told me I could walk to the mailbox. Her mailbox was like miles away. She's going, so like, that's the same thing. So I tell people to avoid seed oils as a general rule, but really it's like the fried,
it's the process,
reused, oxidized seed oils.
It's the cheap, bad oils that have been processed and have all the toxic byproducts. And then it's the bad processed food. The cool thing is, if you tell people to avoid them, they pretty much have to avoid processed foods.
Yes.
So it was like what Virgin Diet did. It was like, you can't eat ultra processed foods if you're pulling out eggs, gluten, corn, dairy, you can't eat it. So that's the thing. I mean, we need omega-6s. They're essential.
Yes. Yes. And omega-9s and omega-3s. And it's the ratio that we need. And you don't have to take a ton of omega-3s if you're not pouring omega-6s down your gullet. Oxidized, reused. I mean, I'm talking fryers, people. Anything cooked in a fryer, it's been reused multiple times, and people just don't get it. So it's easier.
Of course they'd be, because it's too expensive to change the oil all the time. So don't eat that.
And I even read another study this morning about, I was clearly deep in research. I woke up really early. That's what I do to calm myself down, is I read research. And so I read another study showing that a plant-based diet, actually long-term, large cohort study, plant-based diet was really preferred long-term for inflammatory bowel disease, which I wouldn't have thought.
Wow.
Plant food flares up my gut. It flares up my Crohn's patients and my, IBD patients. But I think once you can acclimate to the variety, that's the thing, your microbiome needs variety. Yeah. And so once you're variety and you get that robust, diverse microbiome going that's healthy and not so pathologic. Ultimately, I think that plant-based, JJ and I both have crushed some serious steaks together. So we are not we are not talking like go plant-based here, but I do think there's room for all of this and people need to find what's going to sustain them because we have teeth for grinding and chewing and ripping and cutting and it just got to give your teeth and your gut what it's calling for.
Well, you think about it, like you wouldn't start working out, go to the gym and work out 2 hours a day. That's like deciding, okay, I'm going to increase the fiber in my diet and start eating plants and eating like a gazillion, 100 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
You just don't do that. You got to give just like things like, I think it makes a lot of sense to eat legumes. But you would never start. I was just listening to someone the other day who said you should eat a cup a day. I'm like, I would be a fart factory if I ate a cup a day. It's like, that's not going to happen, but maybe a quarter of a cup,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I love it. So on that, speaking of, that makes me think about longevity because I think one of the keys to longevity is to be able to handle diverse situations, diverse sleeping environments, diverse food options. You do that so well because you travel so much. So you have to, and to look this good and be this healthy. And when I start traveling that much, it really shows. I don't look so good. I don't tolerate it. So I'm not as resilient there. So what are some of because I know you've been in this health space, you've seen a lot of these online people come and go, you've seen it all. What are some of the traits of the resilient ones who've withstood the test of time, who also still have their health intact?
Yeah, there's only a couple of them. I was like, who's still standing?
Yeah.
My buddy David Perlmutter's still standing.
I was just thinking, I was like, it's got to be Perlmutter. I
was like, David's still standing. Mark Sisson's still standing.
Mark is a fox. Mark's
awesome.
He's
Isn't
such
the best. He's my oldest friend in health. Mark Hyman's still standing. He's gone through it a bit. He's like, but when I look at some of the things with them, like what's common? Like what are the things that they all have in common? Well, with David and Mark, they both have really amazing relationships. Their partner. Now Mark Hyman does too. I love Brianna. So all three of them, but like long term, Mark Sisson and David Perlmutter have been married to amazing partners, and they've always been active, and they've always eaten healthy.
And their partners do as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they also always keep reinventing themselves, always keep pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. They're always learning new things. Like if you look at this, and I love the word that you brought up, resilience, because here's the thing. I don't ever want to be so freaking fragile or precious that I can't go to, say, some restaurant. And if there's something I want to try, I can't go, oh, it's just seed oil, or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, if there's something I want to eat at a restaurant, I'm going to eat it at the restaurant. If I have to do a plane flight and it's going to be some ridiculous red eye and it's going to crush my sleep, I want to be able to do that and not say, no, I'm not going to do that. Cause it's going to I won't get a perfect sleep score. Cause literally I hear this from people.
Yeah.
So I recognize that I need to get a B+, A- in how I live so that there's room for the occasional F's because they're going to happen, but also that my body can bounce back from those things because I've taught it how to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. If you can only be in a perfectly controlled environment, that's not resilience.
Right. Absolutely.
So again, I think part of it is the way that you train. Like when you work out hard, you teach your body how to do hard things. And that might not even be that it's physically hard. It might be a mentally hard thing, which for me, that's something like yoga, where it's like, ugh, and then making sure you have some non-negotiables in there. And that's really where I think supplements and sleep and having a stress practice of some sort. So I know what to do if I'm starting to get into that anxiety mode, because that's the place I'll go, it's like, anxiety mode. So you just have those tools in place so that you know how to handle it. But I've been in such stressful, crazy situations that I know how to pull myself through them. And my body knows it now. I can do hard things. I've taught it.
Do you take breaks? I'm a big fan of seasons. So I was on the podcast tour and it was go, 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 go. And I was never home, which I hated. I hated being away from my dogs and I hated being away
I
from my
know
bed.
the doggies. It's
The
so hard.
dogs, that's the part that gets me. I worked so hard so that I could spend all day with my dogs. So to not be around my dogs, like it kind of kills
No.
my soul a little bit. But that said, I kind of think of it like a band. Like a band can't stay on tour forever, right?
Right.
So I take a season off and then I can go back and crush it. How do you approach this?
So I approach it very differently because the way I do it, you know how some people will be, they work hard during the week and they take the weekend off?
Mm-hmm.
I've always just liked to pace myself all the way through. So like when I'm on the road, I'm not crushing myself and getting everything in. No, I'm making sure I have time to work out, that I have some time for fun, that I'm seeing friends. So I do that throughout my week too. I don't crush it, work super long and hard one day and take the next day off. No, I work a little bit each day and then do my other stuff each day. So it is how I approach everything is it's not seasonal. It's just like each day and each week, I'm getting all the stuff I want to get in. And it doesn't really matter where I am because I do the same wherever. Like it all goes with me wherever I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't feel like I'm heading into crazy. Like if you saw this calendar, because like one of my friends was like, color code your calendar to see when you're in town. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just left it. But it doesn't really matter where I am because I have my portable studio. I have my workout stuff. I have my food. I know all the stuff and I'm with Tim and we're hanging out and I don't have my doggies. That's the frustrating thing. But I still do all the stuff I like to do.
Yeah. I think having Tim is helpful. We got to give props to Tim because my husband carries a lot of weight for me and it's a game changer.
It makes all the difference. I was thinking about it because I actually had to travel somewhere without him recently. And that was when I had to pull some 70-pound suitcase up a shuttle bus to get to an Uber. And I'm like, geez, 70 pounds. Yeah. I was like,
no, that doesn't.
And I did it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I trained for. But you know, it's just easier. And then I don't have to worry. I'm the one who like sits the gate yakking away and realizes that the gate moved and the plane left already. That would be me. So Tim's just better. Like I make sure, like then I don't worry about anything. I know I will take off in the wrong direction, walking very assuredly. He makes sure that doesn't happen. You know, you're the same way. I know you are. So
yeah. That's what he's my handsome, my Ryan's my handsome bag boy. I call him. He's just my, he's my arm candy bag boy, but really he's there and he gets me my coffee and water, my fancy bubbly water.
They're fantastic. Smart, handsome, hulky, hunky, just great.
Yeah. And they keep us fed so that we don't melt down.
Yes. And he knows, like, there's 3 things. Don't let me get cold. Don't let me have to pee or get hungry. And if those 3 are happening simultaneously, like, it's really.
So basically they're our keepers. Our handlers, I should say. Yes. I love it. Well, this has been so fun. I want to know, did I leave anything out? Because I was trying to give everybody sort of like the playbook to aging optimally here and being a super babe as they age. So what else?
Yes, being a super babe. I think the most important things, again, is that walking, resistance training, HIIT, yoga. So that's the thing, the sleep piece of it. Then making sure you put some recovery into it. That's where I think sauna is. I think like that's the biggest challenge with traveling is Tim actually wanted to bring the portable sauna with us and I put my foot down. I go, we've lost control. Like we're out of control now.
I've seen your suitcase set up. It's quite, I saw you guys pull into a hotel once and I was like, wow, she's not kidding. She's not joking, you guys.
Yeah. So where's the sauna going to go? I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do with that. So no, that would be a hard no on the sauna.
Yeah.
And then we also get massages all throughout wherever we are. But I'm like, this is all the stuff that you can do. Some red lights, right? And honestly, like that puts you in the upper 1% of everybody.
Yep.
And what's great about that is the majority of that stuff is free.
Yep. It's true. And if you can't get a sauna, or you can't get a red light.
Bath.
Yeah. Actually, I just read a study about heat shock proteins and you get a better result from a bath than you do from a sauna
Think
than you
about
do from
cold
infrared.
plunge. Yeah, cold plunge versus cryotherapy. You get
Yeah.
better results in a cold plunge.
Yep.
So yeah,
Water.
I'll get in a hot Epsom salts bath, and it's like I'm in there sweating.
Yep. And if you can't get a red light unit, go outside in the early morning when red light
Mm-hmm.
is highest and expose as much of your skin as you can and get that good, healthy red light from the sun.
Yeah. Although there's all those now there's small red lights, so it's gotten easier.
Totally. I have a Loom box that is just the nicest size, and it's powerful and it's great. And it helps with musculoskeletal complaints. It helps with skin. It's like, yeah, I think everybody, if I could say the top things, I would say, if you're going to get some gadgetry, invest in a small red light box.
Yeah.
And if you can, swing it at some point and invest in a nice sauna. I think those two are really big game changers for people.
Yeah, of all the stuff, because we go to those biohacking things, and the 90% of the stuff is just ridiculous to me. It's like that I see people in there. I'm like, are you exercising? It's like, no, they're doing all this other stuff. I'm like, why don't you just work out instead of all the stuff? But of all the stuff, those are the two things that make the big difference. And then the third would be, like you mentioned it, I think Power Plate is amazing.
Yep, I love my Power Plate.
So many different things.
That thing saved me last week. I was in so much pain, and like I said, it's right at my thoracic junction, my thoracolumbar junction, and I was like, I feel like my spine is broken. I can't breathe, but I got on the Power Plate, and just even for a few minutes, and mechanoreceptors override pain receptors. So when you get that vibration in there, you actually are overriding the pain receptors.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, someone could even just sit on it. Like Tim, after he had his hip replacement, would just go and sit on it.
Yep. And so just getting that in there, that might be a little intense for some people, the sitting part, but you can even put like that kneeling pad you talked about. I use my kneeling pad on the unit. But so movement always overrides pain, you guys. So that's why we say exercise. That's why vibration is phenomenal. I have a little unit I put on patients' arms that's upstream from the area I'm going to inject, because the vibration of this little unit, it's for little kids, it's for pediatrics. The vibration of it actually overrides, and the pain can't register. So that's
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, that's chiropractic 101. Yeah. So movement always overrides pain, and mechanoreceptors being stimulated always override pain receptors. And so this is why we move our buns around.
Well, learn something new.
Yeah. See, there's a little chiropractor in me. Can't take it out. Well, I just love you, lady. And I think you're such a wealth of knowledge. And I appreciate you coming on the show and making the time. And I appreciate what you've done in the world and what you continue, the fact that you keep showing up, and you are truly inspiration to me. And I know so many other women. So thank you.
Well, let's go back to the gym.
Yeah. I know we need to meet up again. We need to maybe A4M in December. Maybe
definitely A4M in December.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's happening before then, but you'll have to come see my new house.
Mindshare Summit, you'll be there too.
Oh,
but that's a little hard to get to the gym.
Yes. And I'll share out when folks are interested. If you guys are interested in building your online business, the Mindshare Summit's the place to show up every year. So I will share that link out too in the show notes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's coming up in September. So
it's coming right up this year we are doing in the world of AI, superheroes rise. And it's really about that. I mean, because I know a lot of people are scared about AI, but I think it's one of the most exciting things going. But it really means it's a time to double down on what you stand for, who you are, your personal brand, all the things.
Yes.
But then we'll also teach you how to use AI to do all the things too.
Love it. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I think we've got it all. Tell everyone where they can find you.
jjvirgin.com. And we do have, by the way, I did so we have Well Beyond 40. You are a guest on Well Beyond 40. So we definitely should post that episode and post the episode I did. That is jjvirgin.com after 60. And it's all the stuff that I do longevity wise.
Love it.
Nice.
Okay. We'll get all that in the show notes. And you're on Instagram. You've got a great YouTube account.
I do. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook.
Yeah.
Reviving Pinterest. We just found out. I'm like, people are on Pinterest? Apparently they are.
I have heard similar. I know. I keep meaning to get to that. It's just yet another platform. But I was actually just on your YouTube the other day, and it's great. You have such these really nice, instead of being exercise snacks, they're little information snacks. You put a lot of really nice short form content on there that is super informative for people. So especially as ladies are aging, I would say you're the one to follow. So
aging powerfully.
Yes.
We are aging powerfully.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I just love you. And I hope everybody enjoyed this episode as well. Thanks for listening to the Dr. Tina Show. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and mixed by Mike Fry. Theme song is by John the Guilt. You can watch the full video version of this podcast inside the Spotify app or on YouTube. As always, you can email the podcast at podcast@drtina.com. That's DRTYNA. And if you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. You can also find all of my offerings on my website at drtina.com. For more shows by my team, go to wellnessloud.com. See you next time, and thanks for listening. This podcast is for general informational purposes only. It does not constitute the practices of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. I am a doctor, but I am not your doctor. No doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information and the materials linked to this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content on this podcast is intended not to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.